Welcome to CLF-C02 PODCAST, your effortless way to get exam ready. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie.
And this is episode 3 of season 1. Today, we're really getting into the weeds with AWS certification prep.
Yep. Focusing on those tricky exam questions.
Exactly. We're going to look at some common ones, but more importantly, talk strategy. How to knock out the wrong answers, and really get what these AWS services do.
Ready to jump in?
Let's do it. First question up. Which AWS feature allows you to execute code without worrying about server maintenance? Options are A, Amazon EC2, B, AWS Lambda, C, Amazon RDS, D, AWS Elastic Beanstalk, and E, Amazon S3.
Okay, that phrase, without worrying about server maintenance, that's the key giveaway, isn't it?
It really narrows it down. So what should immediately come to mind? How do we start eliminating?
Well, let's look at A, Amazon EC2. EC2 is like the fundamental virtual server offering.
Right. Infrastructure as a service. So you definitely worry about servers there. Patching, scaling.
Exactly. Think of it like renting an empty house. You get the space, but you handle all the upkeep, the maintenance, everything inside. So EC2 is out.
Okay. What about C, Amazon RDS, relational database service? It's managed, but
It is managed, which helps.
yeah.
But you're still picking instance sizes, managing some configurations. It's more like having a gardener manage your plants. They do the work, but you still chose the garden plot and the types of plants. You're still involved.
Still some level of server awareness then, not completely hands-off.
Precisely. So RDS is likely not it. Then there's D, AWS Elastic Beanstalk.
That one helps with deploying apps, right? Makes it easier.
It does simplify deployment, yeah. But it's basically an orchestrator on top of underlying resources, often EC2. It's kind of like using a catering service. They make the food and bring it, but they definitely have a kitchen, servers somewhere.
So the servers are still there, just maybe hidden a bit by Beanstalk.
You got it. Servers are involved. And finally, E, Amazon S3.
S3, simple storage service. That's just for storing files, objects, right? Like a massive online drive.
Spot on. It's storage. You don't run application code directly on S3 itself. It's like a storage unit, great for keeping stuff, but you can't, cook dinner inside it.
Makes sense. So by elimination,
We land squarely on B, AWS Lambda.
that's our answer. So explain Lambda simply. What's the core idea that makes it serverless?
Okay, so Lambda lets your code run in response to triggers, like an image upload or a website click. The key is you never see or manage any servers. AWS handles all that provisioning, patching, scaling automatically behind the scenes.
So it just runs.
Pretty much. It's like a light switch. You flip the switch, the event, the light turns on, your code runs. You don't worry about the power station or the wiring inside the walls. That's the beauty of serverless.
Great analogy. Okay, ready for the next one.
Bring it on.
What is the primary benefit of distributing an application across multiple availability zones? Options. A, lower costs by sharing resources in one location. B, faster performance with centralized data. C, better reliability if one zone fails. D, simpler management with fewer resources. E, free backups for all application data.
All right. Multiple availability zones, or AZs. What do we know about AZs? They're physically separate data centers within a region.
Designed to be isolated from failures in other AZs, that isolation seems key.
Exactly. So thinking about why you'd spread your app across these isolated locations, let's look at A, lower costs. Does spreading things out usually cost less?
Probably not. You're duplicating resources, essentially. So A is unlikely.
Right. B, faster performance with centralized data. Well, if you're distributing it, the data isn't centralized, is it?
Good point. And while performance matters, the main point of AZs feels more like resilience.
You're on the right track. C, better reliability if one zone fails. That sounds promising. Let's hold that. D, simpler management.
Definitely not simpler. Managing stuff in multiple places is inherently more complex.
Agreed. And E, free backups. AZs are about uptime, keeping the application running now. Backups are a different, though related concept.
So backups are more about data recovery after the fact, while AZs are about avoiding downtime in the first place.
Perfect. Which brings us back to C. Better reliability if one zone fails. That's the core benefit.
Explain that reliability aspect simply.
Think of it like having two independent power sources for your house, maybe grid power and a backup generator. If the main power grid goes down, one AZ fails, your generator kicks in. The app instances in the other AZ keep running. Your lights stay on.
So high availability, fault tolerance.
Exactly those concepts. It's fundamental to building robust applications on AWS.
Okay, final question for this deep dive. Which AWS service provides a private network space for your cloud resources? Options. A, Amazon Route 53. B, AWS Direct Connect. C, Amazon VPC. D, AWS Transit Gateway. E, Amazon CloudFront.
Private network space. Okay, we're looking for the service that lets you carve out your own isolated section of the AWS cloud. Let's eliminate again. A, Route 53.
That's DNS, right? Like the internet's phone book, it directs traffic, doesn't create the private space itself.
Correct. B, AWS Direct Connect.
That sounds like a dedicated physical link from, say, our office to AWS. It's the connection, not the network in AWS.
Excellent. Like a dedicated fiber optic cable running to the cloud, but not the private room once you get there. What about D, AWS Transit Gateway?
That connects multiple networks together, doesn't it? Like a central hub or router for different VPCs or on-prem networks.
Yes, exactly. It's a connector, not the initial private network itself. And E, Amazon CloudFront.
That's the Content Delivery Network, CDN. Speeds up websites by caching content closer to users. Totally different purpose.
Right. It's about delivery speed, not network isolation. So
Amazon VPC. Virtual Private Cloud. That has to be it.
it is. So the VPC is your foundational networking service.
Give us the simple analogy for VPC.
Okay, imagine AWS is a huge city. A VPC is like building your own private gated community within that city. You define the boundaries, your IP address range, you set up the security gates, security groups, network ACLs, and you decide on the street layout inside subnets. It's your logically isolated section of the AWS cloud.
Your own secure bubble. Got it.
That's a great way to think about it.
Awesome. So quick recap. AWS Lambda for serverless code execution just runs when needed. Availability zones for reliability, keeping apps running even if one data center fails. And Amazon VPC for creating that private, secure network space in the cloud.
And the big exam takeaway. Really focus on the purpose of each service. Why does it exist? What problem does it solve? If you get that, eliminating wrong answers becomes much, much easier.
Sound advice. Well, if this has helped you get a clearer picture for your AWS exam prep, definitely hit subscribe or follow wherever you're listening. We'll have more content coming your way.
Absolutely. Keep studying.
And just a final thought to leave you with. Consider how understanding the why behind each AWS services function can be even more valuable than just knowing what it does, not just for the exam, but for actually building things in the cloud later on.